Chapter 62. I let out a groan as I slowly stood up from my seat. This train ride is so freaking boring.
Dude, I know. Why can't we just fly home? I know, right? But oh no, Twilight said it wasn't safe and won't let me. Pussy whipped. Shut up! Dawn, help me out here. I'm sorry, man, but I have to agree with Break. Twilight's got you on a leash.
I growled slightly, but kept my anger down. I looked over at Twilight, who was still holding Spark.
Hey, Twilight, I'm gonna go talk to the others.
She looked up suddenly.
Wait, I just remembered something.
I stopped walking to the door and turned.
What did you remember?
She stood and handed... me Spark.
Lance, we've fucking been over this. Next time you do that, I'm going to make you rip your own nuts off!
I gulped at what Break said, because I know that he was dead serious. Twilight pointed to the door.
Can you tell the bronies to come here? And can you drop off Spark with Fluttershy?
I nodded.
Yup.
5 minutes later.
We were all sitting together, looking over at Twilight. We didn't know what she wanted, but it seemed important since she had a list. Every single brony was here, even Drax. I thought I should include him. Twilight looked up from her list and glared.
Okay, all of you. Now that me and Lance have a baby to take care of, I wanted to make a few things clear.
Greg held up his hooves.
Oh no, rules.
He said sarcastically as he pulled out a blunt. Twilight trotted over to him and pulled the joint out of his mouth.
First off, no smoking.
She threw the blunt out the open window. Greg smirked and pulled a second one out from his saddlebag.
Bitch, please, you can't control me.
Twilight glared and pulled it out of his mouth again, proceeding to throw it out the window just as she did the last one. She then picked up his saddlebag and threw it out the window also. Greg jumped up and leaned out the window.
No, my beautiful weed.
Twilight smiled triumphantly and looked over at David, who was still smiling.
I can do that.
Next,
I'll just show
I don't
Lance
want my son to
when he's
see
not
any
around
of
the
those
kid.
pictures you've drawn. Yeah, I've seen them, and I must say, you're sick.
David smiled
Remember what I
awkwardly
told
and
him?
rubbed the back of
Just
his
call me
head.
Frederick.
I pointed at him and laughed. Twilight shifted her gaze and glared at me.
And you.
I looked at her surprised.
Me?
She nodded.
Yes, you. I want you to stop being so sexual around Spark.
I furrowed my brows in confusion.
What?
She face-huffed.
You know what I mean.
I thought for a second and chuckled.
Oh, now I know what you mean.
She then looked over to Peter.
Peter, I don't want you to pull any pranks on my son. Around him. Got it?
Peter shrugged.
Got it.
She smiled and looked over to Seth and Zoro.
You two, I want you to stop fighting
Yep.
each other all the time. Sure.
Zoro glared and pointed at Seth. But he starts it. Twilight glared harder.
I don't care. If you two do it again, I'm going to finish it. Permanently.
They both gulped and nodded. She smiled.
Good.
Twilight then looked at Frederick.
Frederick, I know you're the prince and all, and I respect you, but I want you to stop bringing all those dangerous inventions of yours over to the house.
Frederick chuckled.
I can do that. I'll just show Lance when he's not around the kid.
Twilight smirked.
Thank you, Prince Frederick.
Frederick chuckled again, shaking his head.
Remember what I told you. Just call me Frederick.
She nodded and looked at Shadow Breeze.
I don't know you well, Shadow. Just stay on my good side.
Then she looked at Drax.
Same goes for you, even though you're not a brony.
They both nodded in response. Twilight sighed.
Do you all understand me? If one of you, and I mean all of you, hurts Spark or influence him in a bad way, I'll go pissed off mother on your ass.
I raised an eyebrow.
Wow, Twilight, I didn't even know that you used strong language.
She looked at me and chuckled.
I guess I picked that up while I was watching your memories.
Is that the reason? Yes, since she relived your memory, she may have picked up your way of speaking. That's just... terrible.
She sighed and looked at everyone again.
Got that?
We all nodded. She began to walk away.
Good.
She then began walking down the aisle, towards Fluttershy and the others. Greg looked at all of us and smirked.
She just made us her bitches.
4 hours later, Canterlot.
Twilight, Frederick, Delaw, and I were making our way down the street, towards Delaw's house. Twilight was carrying Spark on her back. We really need to get a carrying... saddle?
I can't wait to get back to the palace.
Frederick said. I nodded.
I can't wait to get back to the cozy bed. Those hotel beds are so uncomfortable.
Frederick rubbed his back.
Tell me about it.
Twilight opened her mouth to speak, but was cut off by the screams of ponies.
Oh no.
Soon, a group of them ran by, screaming. Frederick looked ahead.
What now?
I looked ahead also.
You ready for another fight, man?
He nodded.
Oh yeah.
We then galloped ahead, towards the direction all the ponies were running from. We came upon the town's water fountain. I looked up and my mouth fell open. Frederick did the same exact thing when he looked up.
Whoa, that's unexpected in all ways. A female dragon necklace. Who'd have thought of that? Damn, she's hot.
Author note.
Today's chapter is short. Why? Busy day. Sorry that I ended it so soon. I'm doing that for all authors' notes now.
Okay, fine. Alright, so that that was a surprisingly short chapter. Alright,
Yes, it was.
stop it at 14:25. I thought for a second and chuckled.
Oh, now you know what I mean. What the fuck? Oh, now I know what
know what you
you
were
mean.
accusing
When I
me
stick
of,
you
but
upside
now
down
you
and then I
know.
start looking around there, and then all of a sudden I just
Dude,
thrust
shut
it
up.
straight in.
You're gonna make me beat my computer with this golf club if you don't just freaking say the line.
I did. Dear
When?
God.